Hey everyone, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. Yes, Chris, Texas weather. Chris, you sound like an overcooked hot dog. What is going
Mm.
on with you today?
Yeah, it's beautiful outside. The weather is phenomenal, but for some reason, my body was like, "Hey, it's a good time to just screw everything up." And there's a podcast coming. He's a professional. He's got a lot to do, but just overcooked hot dog. Yeah.
We talked about the overcooked hot dog. Now I want to talk about another thing that has to do with your age. I was thinking about this for myself, but then
Okay.
I got to thinking about you. 25-year high school reunion,
Oh,
not that far away. We're
I
talking like 2 or 3 years. I know you may not go, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
You didn't go to high school. We get it. You dropped out in eighth grade. Had to hit the Google Ads streets right from
Right.
right from being a teenager.
Right into it. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I was thinking, man, as I say every time we start the show these days, where does time go, Chris? What
Yeah.
happens to time? What is time? Who
25
cares?
year.
Who
Yeah.
cares what time is? That's not one of the questions. We're here to talk about Google Ads. We're here to answer your questions.
Boom.
PaidSearchPodcast.com. There's a page where you can submit your questions for Q&As. We batch them. We take great questions, and then we really hit them hard here on our
Mm-hmm.
Q&A episodes. This will be the best Q&A we've ever done. I know that before we even started. Chris is going to tell us about Optio, and then we're going to hear from Andrew in Chicago.
Hmm.
He's going to be asking about our optimization routine.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you about our very favorite sponsor. The sponsor has been with us and kept us going for a long time now, for years now. It is Opteo. That's opteo.com/PSP. There's a link in the description. And the reason I tell you about the link is because you can try our number one software. There is no number two. There is no number three. This stands alone in the crowd. It is our favorite because it saves you time. Little behind the scenes thing. We actually just met with them right before recording the podcast, and they gave us a preview of the kind of tools and time saving utilities that they're creating for the software. They're not done. They keep creating new things, ways for you to manage your ad copy, ways for you to improve your keyword bids, ways for you to communicate with your clientele. It's phenomenal, and it's gonna keep getting better year after year. You really need to try it out. If you haven't, it is 100% free for 2 months to try this amazing software. Opteo.com/PSP.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So our first question comes from Andrew from Chicago. Do you guys follow an optimization routine? So Andrew's question, hey guys, I'm new to the podcast and am really enjoying the content. Super valuable stuff. I've got a question that is kind of loaded and could easily take us down a rabbit hole. What do rabbits sound like, Chris? Sorry.
Sound? Oh,
I had never thought about that till
delicious.
the other day. Oh, they sound like they taste. Do you guys follow any type of optimization routine on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that could be applied to most accounts? I know each account will have its own challenges depending on the industry, budget, and a ton of other factors, but I was curious if you guys follow any sort of consistent optimization schedule to maintain the health of your accounts. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Chris, do you follow an optimization routine?
Well, to give Andrew a straight answer on this, no, I do not. I do not have an optimization routine. I don't have like a checklist. I've tried it in the past. Um, I don't find that it works. I can give a little bit longer answer, but I'm more interested. Jason, do you have like an ultimate
I do
checklist?
have the ultimate checklist. I
Okay.
package it. You can purchase it, and you can pay me every month for the rest of your life. Because if you don't
Wow.
have my checklist, you won't know how to manage Google Ads account.
Amazing.
Um, no, I don't have a checklist either, Chris.
Okay.
I don't have an optimization routine. And just like many things in life, like I see this with investing and stuff, there's a lot of ways to do things. There's the way to do things right,
Hmm.
and then there's the way to do things in a nice prepackaged way that you can tell other people how to do it and then make money from that.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
that's not the right way. And so I see this with like investing and stuff like that, but I also see it with Google Ads. Like I wish I could come on here and I wish I could just sell myself this way.
Sure.
when you sign up with me, this is what I'm going to do every single week. This is what I'm going to do every single month. This is what I'm going to do every quarter. This is what I'm going to do every year. And we've seen people like that, and it's very prepackaged. And honestly, if you want to talk about persuading people to give you money, people like certainty. They like knowing, oh, he's going to do this, this, and that on these days. And they can give their money to those people, and then they can have horrible experiences with their advertising.
Yeah.
Because, Chris, how could you possibly have an optimization routine on a platform this dynamic, with this much going on, with competitors running against your ads, with Google changing and updating the system, with search users? It's so dynamic.
Yeah.
So why not just make sure you're looking at the account on a routine basis? For me, what the optimization routine is, it's going, hey, what's the goal of this account? Oh yeah, that's the goal. I'm going to do things to hit that goal. That's it. That's my optimization routine. What do you think about that, Chris?
Well said. Yeah, I have. I don't know if I've asked you this recently, and I honestly was really, whenever I choose the questions that we decide we're going to do on the show, a lot of times I'm like, I wonder what Jason has to say about this. I want to know, and I wanted to know, and I thought you did, and I'm surprised because I don't, and I have a similar pathway. I totally agree that if I were to write an optimization routine, check the account, I do this, I do this, I do this, I go through. If I were to write that, step 2 would immediately deviate from that path, because that's immediately what I find is I find something that is wrong, that doesn't fit in that linear pathway. I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, I need to go check that out. And then what am I supposed to do? Go back down the list again? And then, that's so inefficient.
Yeah. Say one of the things on the list is review your search terms to make sure they're high quality and performing well. Okay. You do that like a robot, and you miss the big picture of, whoa, our budget is $2,000 a month. Yeah. We want to get as many leads as possible for this 2,000. We've spent $1,100 a month for the past year. We're not utilizing the full budget. We're not getting as many leads as we can.
Yeah.
I need to try more phrase match keywords. I need to try broad match keywords. I need to build a performance max campaign to complement and make up the gap we have with the search budget. Where does that fit into the routine?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. There is no checklist.
The only thing it fits into is, what are my goals? I want this cost per lead. I want to spend this per month.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure my leads are good. And then I go down there, I go, oh, we're hitting our cost per lead. Great. I'm still looking at my North Star or my 1 or 2 North Stars. Oh, spend $2,000 a month. Oh, geez, I'm not doing that. How can I do that?
Yeah.
And then next time you get in there, oh, well, I built a broad match keyword campaign that matches my North Star, which is the second North Star, which is try to spend the full budget. Okay, I built that. How's the quality going? Oh, I look at that. What's my other North Star? Hit a $50 cost per lead. Oh my gosh, our cost per lead is $700. Well, I was doing manual bidding on broad match. Now I need to try max conversion, because that's approved a lot. We have a lot of historical conversion data in this account. Let me throw on max conversions and put a $50 cost per lead on there. How does that fit into the checklist? That's a long checklist. Yeah. I don't want to have a checklist. I want to look at my North Stars.
And it's like every account would need its own separate checklist, because every account is different than the last one.
Yeah. So we don't follow. We don't have a checklist. We follow the North Stars.
So I like that.
Go ahead.
All right. So next we're going to go to Ireland, from Pat in Ireland. Hey guys, I love the podcast and listen in frequently. I also signed up for Optio based on your show. Great piece of software. Thank you, Pat. Pat listens. He's a good listener. He believed us and he did it. I'm using max conversions combined with phrase and exact match for a campaign. He said broad is bringing in too many irrelevant searches. Okay. Yep. Agree with that. Negative keyword list is comprehensive at the campaign level, but I consistently see keywords overlay and cannibalization where keywords are appearing in multiple ad groups within one campaign. Am I correct in saying that the best way to handle this is to add negative keywords at the ad group level? It's become more and more difficult to control the search terms that are firing since the update to the match types. Keep up the great podcast.
It ain't the update to the match types. It's the updates to the match type on an ongoing, never-ending basis with the amount of data that these machines are calculating that we can never even comprehend as humans. And what I'm seeing is that for some industries, you have the word moving company. Another industry, you have the word, or another ad group, you have the word mover. and they don't overlap. We don't see moving company search terms for the mover keywords. I see other industries where you have similar words like that, and that totally are in all the search terms are all over the place in the ad group. So I see this happen in some industries. If it's an industry it's happening in, what I do is I don't fight the system. And so I go, wow, if I'm trying to force different search terms to come in from very, very similar keywords, I might as well just, and they're not doing it, they're doing a bunch of overlap. I'm going to simplify my life and simplify the performance metrics and shrink it down to one ad group for whatever's overlapping. Because yeah, you can try to add one ad group level negative keyword and you do it, and then you block that one search term and you force it to show to the ad group, but then the next day another one will come in, and then another one. And if that's the way you want to be spending your time managing a Google Ads account, you can. I don't. I want to look at my North Stars, cost per lead, and trying to spend the full budget. And if the system is saying, hey, these are so similar, we're going to show them on these same keywords, then I don't try to fight it. Also, I don't try to fight it for performance reasons. Chris, do you want to speak to that if you agree with this?
Yeah. So just to answer the question from Pat, I do not recommend that you dive into ad group negatives. I think, as Jason said, it is a road that leads to complexity and more work and long-term issues. So
and lower performance.
Yeah, and when it comes to this destroying your performance, think about it this way. Let's say that there is a particular search that could fire on 3 different keywords across 3 different ad groups. Okay. And let's say you've set up your campaign. Each ad group is thematically different. And you've even gone so far as to write different ad copy and have different landing pages for each one. Okay. So now, how are you to decide that Google should only show ads for ad group A for this search and not B or C? Google decides which one of the keywords is going to fire on for that particular search based on the ad rank of that keyword. And there are specific avenues that determine which keyword is going to get the best ad rank for that search. By adding ad group negatives, you artificially tell Google, no, don't pick this. It may have a 9 out of 10 quality score for that particular search, but I don't want you to use it. I want you to use this one over here that has a 5 out of 10, therefore getting a higher cost per click, possibly a lower click-through rate, worse performance, and overall the metrics go down. You actually cause a detriment to the campaign. So
you don't show up as often.
Yeah, you don't show up. You may not show up at all. That's a good point. Yeah. So I think, absolutely. I think that in most cases, I do not ever use ad group negatives. If necessary, as Jason said, I simplify or I use some other kind of methodology because I think the ad group negatives lead to complexity and can ruin an account.
And this isn't to say you don't think as a human being. Like, if they are totally different meanings, the search term versus the keyword, and totally different for your business, sure, that's why ad group level negatives exist. But if truly the person doing search A has the same intent and the same value as the person doing search B, and both landing pages could work and both ads could work, then probably they should be in the same thing, because there's a same ad group, because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about or can't see or can't get access to that Google knows about the user, or who knows, like they're running. There's just a lot. You don't want to fight the system. So yeah, that's how we handle that these days. Our next question, Chris, comes from Joar from Northern Norway. And their question is, should you add all 3 match types in an ad group? So love your podcast. I've learned a lot. Thank you. You have probably discussed the issue earlier, but things change over time. We currently use a highly reputable agency, but I still question what they do in our account and how they set up campaigns and ad groups. This is juicy, Chris.
Yeah.
In the ad group, they enter keywords with all 3 match types. All three. That's the key thing there. All 3. Yeah. I tricked myself. I was like, all right, phrase them exact, because some people go crazy breaking up the ad groups by match type, but all three
broad in there as well.
The keyword is typically generic. As a result, we get a lot of
that one little line right relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one little line, the keyword is that's why I chose this question. I was like, oh, this is crazy stuff.
Yeah. Is it common to use all three match types of a keyword in one in the same ad group? And then maybe we can also speak to what could happen when you use those with a generic keyword.
Yeah.
Wish you the best for Christmas. Would love to see Jason with a white beard. Okay,
Santa.
Chris, why don't we answer the man's question here?
You and Santa, he thinks you look alike for some reason. I don't know.
This time, 1 year from now, Chris, people are just going to be sending me food in the mail. Not like frozen packages, not like meal kits, just like cooked dinner that's going to ship for 4 days and show up in a PO box, because they're going to be so worried about me because I'm going to look so thin and in shape and healthy. 2023 is my year. And then, honestly, Yoer, a joke about Santa Claus, it's going to be so dated by the time we get 1 year from now. It's going to be like, what are you doing? Like a white beard? So I'll see you in a year.
Okay.
I'll see you in a year.
Okay,
or let me
let's
put it
do
a better way. Half of me will see you in a year.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The other half of me will just be up in the air, just the mist burned off of me. Okay. Because this is my year, Chris. Okay. No Santa Claus jokes.
I love it.
From you or the listeners. Okay.
I didn't say it.
You didn't delete it though. And
No, I didn't.
You
I left
put the
it there.
questions together. And as a friend and a podcast partner, you could have deleted that line.
Yeah.
You could have deleted it, but you left it for me to see and to motivate me, because this is my year, Chris.
I love it. Okay.
I like chicken, I like steak, I like tacos, like whatever you want to send in the mail. Just, I'm not worried about germs or bacteria or anything. Like, even if you're shipping from Norway and it takes like 2 weeks to get here,
it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah. Just a little Tabasco on there.
Yeah, that kills everything.
All right, answer the question.
Sure. Okay.
Mrs. Yeah.
No.
I was going to make another St. Claus joke, but it's dumb because it's dated at this point. Honestly, it's dated.
I hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Agree. Totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
Okay. So, obviously, by the tone of our discussion, this is absolutely ridiculous to choose a.
Hold on. What is the key thing that's ridiculous? Like, you got to be fit. You got to be very specific.
Okay.
If you're going to make a claim like that on an account you haven't even seen.
Right. It is absolutely ridiculous to have specifically to have three match types. I don't care if you choose. I don't even care if it's generic. The generic part was just icing on the cake.
All right, forget generic, because sometimes those work, and sometimes you want to.
Sometimes they could work. It's the three match type. Three match type is telling me that the person does not understand the basic processing of how Google matches to particular keywords. Okay, by let's assume
to be even more specific. No, three match types. If there were three versions of exact one day, it's like, to me, it's a broad match. That's what's making me angry.
Well,
firing me up.
Yeah, but what bothers me the most is the three match types.
Well, why don't I let you finish? Why don't I let you finish? Go ahead. Sorry.
What bothers me is that if they put three match types into that ad group, that tells me that they did not follow the number one rule about why Google Ads has campaigns, ad groups, keywords, and ads. And that's because each ad group should be thematically associated with the ad group, with the landing page that it's pointing for that particular
the keyword
ad.
and the ad in the ad group.
So they're just ditching that, and they're saying each ad group is a container for
a keyword.
One set of keywords.
One word. Yeah, one actual character.
One word. We're going to do as though the match type is somehow magical. And if you throw all of them in together, the magic works, and then you get a lead out of it. No.
But to be fair, like sometimes like phrase and exact match, like sometimes I do break them up these days, but because phrase is so different. But having phrase and exact in one ad group, not the biggest deal.
No,
do that quite often.
It's excuse me. The issue is not necessarily the match types. It's the fact that they're ignoring the structure and the hierarchy system of the Google Ads process, because you should group keywords together based on theme, based on value, based on level of the sales funnel that they're in.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so you just don't like that. So you think they may have had this discussion with him in Norway and said like, hey, we base our ad groups on match types, or we base our ad groups, on the keyword, and then we just throw everything in there.
Right. That tells me that their knowledge of Google Ads is off.
And
in the
I'm
first
taking
place.
it from that area to the more like the consequence of this, which is you got broad match keywords in the mix. And if you have broad match keywords in the same ad group as,
Yeah.
I mean, these days, you know, the only exception I would have to putting broad in its own ad group, or what I do is put it in its own campaign so you can truly control how much of your account
Yeah.
budget goes to it. But I never put them in like an existing ad group with phrase and
No.
exact match keywords, because like you're saying, the searches you show up on are going to be so different
Yeah.
and the performance is going to be so different. I don't want to see that ad group level data, click-through rate, conversion rate, and then question it and go, well, actually, is our click-through rate really 9% versus the 3% if we just filter out the broad match keywords? And I don't want broad match to eat up all the volume if
Yeah.
exact match or phrase is going to perform a lot better. Maybe the one exception, and this is just kind of like trying to improve here, Chris, but I could see a scenario where Google takes so much data about the keywords you're using, the words you have in your responsive search ads, which we'll be talking about more in the upcoming weeks. And they take signals you're sending it. And so maybe if you have an aged, really kind of long-term account with an ad group that's been amazing, and you only have one ad group in your campaign, and you just have like 30 really on topic phrase and exact match keywords in there, and you want to throw in one broad keyword that has 4 or 5 words in the keyword itself,
Okay.
just to see if it would take all that signal data from the other keywords in the
Okay.
ad group and give you a nice
Yeah.
broad match. That's where I could see using broad match in an ad group with phrase and exact, but you can see how much of a specific scenario that is. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think there's an episode about 100 episodes back where we talked about using broad keywords the smart way. You know, that is, that's true years ago as it is now. You don't
And
just
that
use them.
you're close. You said 100. That was actually about 120. That was 247.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how old we've adhered to this strategy. And that's why it bugs Jason and I so much, is because that completely blows away every aspect of Google Ads management and control.
I'm about to get real passive aggressive here on this audience, Chris.
Uh-oh.
Google Ads is not, you can't apply a little formula to it. This is not mathematics. This is this is numbers, but it's also an art form. It's also understanding the system. I was just kidding about 100 episodes ago. I don't know the episode number, but you believe me, so now I have to clarify. I don't know the number, but the way I'm going to get passive aggressive going forward is every single episode is going to be titled a Google Ads discussion. And if you want the gems, if you want the golden nuggets, you got to go search for them and listen to every minute. Because how could we do an episode these days on broad match keywords, Chris? Because broad match keywords affect ad groups, and ad groups affect what the keywords, and they look at the keywords in the ad group, and that makes you think about the responsive search ads and the different words. You got to stop me. We got to take a break. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back right after this for more discussion on Google Ads.
Welcome back. I want to remind you about our wonderful sponsor who has saved countless accounts from falling under the waves of mismanagement. This tool is Optio.com. It is a time-saving, performance-enhancing, totally legal way to improve your account performance. You may think performance-enhancing, I can't use that. You can. It's real and it works. And if you want arms like this, use Optio. I'm a walking example of what Optio can do. You can try it for free for 2 months, 8 weeks on any and all of your accounts, whether you have 1 or 15 or 150. You can try them. It is a phenomenal tool. That is Optio.com/PSP.
Chris, a great country singer, said it. Breaking up was easier in the 90s. I miss the 90s. I miss my childhood. I miss you brought up performance enhancing. I miss when the biggest problem we had in our world as a country was just steroids. Just like guys going to the gym and just like getting juiced. Like that was the biggest problem we had. Man.
That's our health crisis.
Where did we go wrong? Like, man, okay. Anyway,
the
we're
internet.
not going to solve that.
The internet.
You think it was the internet?
Yeah.
Man, sometimes like I think about like social media and phones and all that, and it's like, dude, this has only been going on really, because I think I remember a specific time I had a best friend growing up. We stay in touch a little bit, but man, Like I loved him. I loved his family. They loved me. I remember sitting on his couch. He had one of those sectionals wrapped all the way around.
Oh
It's
man.
probably, I think it was
Yeah.
green or something. It was 2000s.
90s.
So yeah, 90s going into 2000s. But he had a big screen TV, and I think the year was 2011. I graduated high school. I go to college. I come back in town. I'm still at that age where you come back in town. And you hang out with like the high school seniors or your friends that are still in high school. You're like, oh, I'm cool. I'm in the world, and they're like, no, we're cool because we have iPhones. And man, maybe it was more like 2007 is when I graduated. So I remember seeing that, and that's not that long ago was my point, Chris. Like, this is an experiment we're all doing ourselves. It's not that long. Not that long.
Yeah.
People don't understand, Chris. The younger audience, if they
because
the 90s, 2000,
my kids don't know what life was like before because they didn't live.
You just brought me back to the place where like every day, what's going on with the steroids? How small a problem? Like steroids. All right. Speaking of steroids, New Jersey, Brandon from New Jersey. How to make? All right, I'm sorry, I keep reading that, Chris. I'm very sorry about that.
That's not
Brandon
that's
from
not,
New Jersey. I've done. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, big fan. Really trust your opinions. I work at a digital agency, and we just brought on a multi-million-dollar account. Boom.
Ooh, yeah.
The prior agency turned the account into a heaping pile of audience overlay, branded keywords and non-branded campaigns. Random ad groups scattered. Oh, it keeps going.
Yeah, it does.
Redundant performance max. Oh, that's a new one. Performance max campaigns. There are multiple sets of display retargeting ads that have no exclusions and are bidding against themselves. Good times. And multiple conversion events in each campaign. Okay.
Wow.
In total, the this is cool. This is textbook stuff, dude. This is textbook. Where do these guys at agencies find time for ping pong if you're doing all this stuff in the account?
You got to read that line.
In total, the account had 91 campaigns and 10,000 keywords. I've done my audits and whittled it down to 16 campaigns that have potential to be saved. No, they don't. We'll get to the answer. And reorganized into something that resembles a campaign. No, it won't. That an adult in the room created. I like the adult in the room.
Adult, yeah. Thank you.
We didn't have that term until things went off the rails either. Like no one was in the 90s or 2000s going, but who's the adult in the room? Who's the
adult? Yeah,
we were all adults. Even
okay.
Even
the kids.
God, wish I had a time. All right. My question is, how can I safely wind down all the junk campaigns without causing drastic damage to the performance that is taking place? We need to undo the. Wow, that's a bad word, but I like.
Yeah, I didn't. I left that one in.
Yeah, you almost got me, Chris.
Yeah, I did.
Why don't you take out the Santa Claus jokes and take out the F-bombs next time?
Oh, come on. It wouldn't
in the account without sacrificing the goals the client has set out. What are the goals? And how are the goals even being close to being hit? Yeah. If that's what was going on. If you could give me some advice, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Keep up the excellent show. Chris, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah. So Brandon, as far as what the goal was, Jason, the goal was spend. That was the goal. I mean, and they accomplished it.
How dare you make that accusation against an nameless agency? You're going to outright say that you think their interest. You think it was the overall just day-to-day manager doing it that may not know what they're doing, or you think it was more like the boss is just like, all right, they're spending.
Tell me, how fast would that agency worker be fired if at the end of the month this multi-million-dollar company only spent?
All right, I get. Okay, yeah, the multi-million-dollar account. There you go. Yeah.
No, they want that. They want that percentage. Yeah. They want that check because
you're right.
You guys spent $70,000. So
yeah, you're right.
So what can be done? Okay, so this is an extremely difficult situation, and the only thing that I could say is, in this session. Because an answer to this would not be something possible that I'd be able to do on a podcast here. But the best advice I can give you is do not assume that the structure or layout of any of these campaigns should remain intact. There's no reason for you to maintain the structure. You say, oh, this campaign I want to save and this campaign I want to save. The best thing that you can do is use this as though you just have a giant dump of information to go through and sort through. That's the best thing you can do.
Life's not that easy, Chris. I like Brandon, so I'm going to give a real answer here.
Tell
and
us.
I want to see what you think about the risk versus reward.
Okay.
That's what Brandon wants to do, Chris. Brandon's not stupid. Brandon listens to this show.
Oh.
Like, of course he wants to start new, probably. You know
Okay.
what I mean? But
Okay.
he's got this multi-million-dollar account,
Right.
and probably the marketing manager, the business owner, or whatever, chirping at him, saying, "No, we're not starting over. Look at all this data we've generated. Look at."
Hmm.
I'm not going to call it a loss. Like we've been doing this strategy for years. It worked
Okay.
for years, and it just stopped working in the last 3 months. So I don't want you to change things. Continue doing. You went from 91 to 16 campaigns, 10,000 keywords. There's probably maybe 500 to 1,000 keywords in there now. What if they're chirping at them saying, you can't change this and you have to go with what's in place? Here's my idea. It's just an idea, and I want to know what you think about the risk versus reward. If I was in the situation and I had someone chirping at me saying, no, you're not going to change things. Also, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
What if it takes 3 months to figure it out?
Yeah.
And it's such BS, because it's like everything takes time to figure out. And so now he's in a spot where he's got 3 months. In reality, he should get 3 months to figure it out, but he's probably got people chirping at him saying, no, you can't take 3 months because we just transitioned over you. And if I was Brandon, I'd be like, well, the reason you transitioned is because it wasn't working. So give me 3 months to figure it out. So
Yeah.
you lost a ton of money every month. Now let's lose less money every month and figure it out.
Yeah.
So, but they're chirping at him. So if I had to keep what was going on and try to salvage it, if they're chirping at me, what I would do is I would say, look, half your budget, we're going to go with the BS that you guys, and I would clean it up, the language and stuff. Half of the budget will go with what you guys have been doing in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have some new ideas. I have some different ways I structure things. The way I structure campaigns is totally radically different than probably the agencies you've worked with in the past. It's a very simple strategy. It's going to take time to figure it out. We're going to do half the budget with the previous strategy, half the budget with my strategy, and we're going to ramp up. And once I prove to you that this new strategy works, we'll go with mine. Do you think that's too risky to run at the same time? Would you have to run on different days? Would you get worried about the two campaigns competing with themselves if they ran with the same time, so split the budget? I wouldn't. I don't care anymore. Like I've been in this scenario over and over. The truth is the truth, and you know that, Chris.
Yeah.
And to try to salvage something that these fools were doing, it just bothers me in general.
Yeah.
But sometimes people want to keep it going. Do you like that split it up strategy?
I completely agree with you. And the truth is, I just got handed an account that looks, not this big, but it looks a lot like that giant mess. And that's exactly what I did.
Are they chirping at you, or are they letting you do your thing?
No, they're letting me do my thing.
Good for you.
But I did exactly what you talked about. I created a cannibalizing duplicate of what I think works. Some of the same keywords are in there. Some of the same, ads are in there.
Okay.
But then I created some of my own as well. And
you have a nice little sandbox to be free and play.
A wonderful, and at some point I will kill off that old campaign to now allow my campaign to run. But I completely agree. I think that is the best way to do it.
So,
I've done it like that. I agree.
All the time we're doing clean breaks. Like every time a client comes to us, they're like, we have a bunch of data. We want you to run this campaign. I say no. What do you say? I mean, well, it depends. If it's in good shape.
Depends.
You're right. It depends. If it's in good shape, you keep doing it because it's working. But man, if I just can't deal with the other words we didn't have in the past, the untruths, the disinformation, no. Back in my day, Chris, when they said something, it was the truth and everyone agreed to it. And we watched baseball and we got worried about the steroids and it was an easy life.
Yeah.
But I can't deal with untruths or lies, or I would use another word if we weren't on a show now. I can't deal with it anymore. And like to run something that wasn't working, I can't do it anymore. And so when someone wants to come to me saying, hey, it's not working, can you help us? I go, yes, I can, but we have to do it this new way. And so a beautiful mindset is like, if that's the spot you're in, but they won't let the past go and they won't give you that clean break, or maybe you don't even want it because it's a lot of pressure to be able to perform within 3 months. It's a lot of pressure. And so maybe you just put half a foot in the past, put half a foot in the future, and you keep rolling. Because how else can we give advice? It's like, well, instead of having 91 ad groups, have this one. It's just general advice, but that's what I do when I'm in a situation like this. I freaking love New Jersey. That's why I went all out with this answer. Real Housewives of New Jersey is coming back. I I hate
This
the
one fired
holidays.
you
I
up.
hate the summer. I like the fall. I like the spring. I like sitting on my butt right behind me, watching that 60-incher, watching my reality TV. Real Housewives is coming back. Chris, we've got time for one more question. Why
Okay.
don't you read it to me?
So this is from Dominique from Lafayette. Hi, I have a question. I probably should have cut that part out. I'm running a maximum conversion bidding strategy, and I have a question. Should I use a target CPA bidding strategy? Because every time I use target CPA, limited by budget pops up on my campaigns. Should I use maximum conversion without CPA since my budget isn't limited? Jason.
Limited by budget pops up. What I would be thinking would pop up if your target CPA is too low, that they now have, and I appreciate this metric. They have limited by, what is it, Chris? Limited by targeting. Yeah, limited by targeting, which means like if I'm running in an industry where the average cost per lead is $20 and I'm telling it, hey, get me a $2 cost per lead. Well, you're not bidding high enough. You're limited by your targeting.
Yeah.
And so I really can't, I don't know why a target CPA would influence a limited by budget. I think, would it be fair to say those are maybe two different worlds?
Yeah, I think what's probably happening is she's making a change to the account, and by making that one change, she's triggering this warning. For some reason, something on the back end's triggering that warning. I think the question I want to answer here is, I don't think that you should worry about your bidding strategy as much as the question about should you worry about these warnings about limited by budget. If something's limited by budget, you could still have an incredibly successful campaign. Who cares if it's limited by budget? Then you know
it's just information. If you like your cost per lead and you like spending $1,000 a month and you're hitting your two goals, cost per lead and spending the full budget,
great.
Then limited by budget just tells you, hey, just so you know, you're not showing up all the time you could be for your keywords, for your schedule, for your location, your market, your audience these days, we have to say, because the amount of searches is higher than you spending $1,000 a month. And
there you go.
Is it that you could spend $1,500 a month at this bidding level, $2,000 a month? That's found in the search impression share loss due to budget. That's found by clicking on limited by budget and seeing what they recommend you could be spending. But I think the biggest thing I would say is just kind of look at target CPA and your cost per lead separate from limited by budget. To me, they're two different things.
Yeah.
The only thing where target CPA would play a role would be if you're getting limited by targeting.
Yeah. Yep. So in the end, Dominique, I say ignore it.
All right, Chris, we're going to call it a day. Thank you for this episode. We're going to be back next week with part 2 of this Q&A. And this was the best Q&A we've ever done. Part 2 will be even better because every time we do it is the best.
It's better.
If you want to call me, give me some weight loss tips, talk about the newest season of Real Housewives of New Jersey. I also watch Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City, I mean, come on, I need something fresh. I need that storyline. It's losing me. But Real Housewives of New Jersey, if they keep going, I'll watch that till I die.
Wow.
I'll watch that till I'm hopefully 90 years old.
Till they die.
Well, they could keep it going for various reasons. Yeah. I want them to keep it going. I'll watch that forever. Chris, if people want to call you and see you and talk to you and reach you, where can they reach you?
Yeah. Best way to get my digits and reach out to me is chrisschaefer.com. Let me spell that. That's Chris, Chris, Schaefer, SCHAEFFER. The longest possible way that you can spell Schaefer. Not ideal.
I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to accept that every week. The only reason I am you doing that with my ears is because one day you're going to misspell it, and it's going to be really funny.
It's going to be worth it. Yeah.
I didn't even tell people where they can reach me, rothmanppc.com. Real Housewives in New Jersey. Let's talk.